Boom. Bum bum bum. Bum bum banana. Oh god. Deep fat fried. Deep fat fried. Deep fat fried. Deep fat fried. Doodly doodly. Deep doodle doop. Deep fat fried, deep fat fried, deep fat fried, deep fat fried, boobity doobity, beep beep beady deep deep deedly 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 doo. Doot 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 deedly 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 doo. Yeah.
All right. So,
Sorry, guys.
right. Yeah. So, I don't know. Welcome to Deep Fat Fried, I guess.
Is that what? Wait a minute. Are you actually recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought we said we were going to do that today.
I was gonna say, like, you guys really want to do this episode? Because, like, we could all go home and, like, get pizzas and just, like, binge some Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, did we not? Like, we already did a show today, didn't we?
We did like a couple.
Yeah.
So like we put it in.
Like, we
man.
don't need to do this show tonight.
I don't think we should even bother, like, the going home
This
thing.
is
TJ, just go ahead and order, like, 6 large double pepperoni pizzas.
I'm just gonna chill
I
over
call
on the
it-
couch.
I call it couch.
Why don't you guys do a show? I call the couch.
Fuck you, man. I'm not gonna fight you over it because
I
I'm
mean-
just too.
Oh, Paul, look, he's losing. He has to get up and walk to do that. Whereas all we have to do is firmly remain here.
Look at
Oh,
TJ,
we're good.
man. He's so fucking lazy. Look at him.
Why don't you get on your phone, TJ? That's all you're good for, man.
Look at him. He's
Go
just
get
gonna,
on your fucking phone,
gonna
dude.
sit over there on the couch on his phone. What a lazy fuck.
I get mad at TJ, but you know what? Too much effort, man. Whatever.
I know. I'd rather just be. You know.
I'll just be here.
I'd rather
now.
be on the couch. Honestly, I think TJ's got it right.
I'm just looking at this logo, dude. Deep fat fried. And it's just like, you know, we're deep, we're fat, and we're fried, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all I got, man. I got nothing.
I'm just so sleepy. I don't feel like
Nothing.
doing anything.
I don't want to do anything today. I just want to do nothing. TJ, what are you doing, man? You doing nothing?
What?
You doing nothing?
On Twitter.
You're on Twitter?
What is
Oh,
he doing?
Why are you on Twitter, man? It takes get a hold of phone.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, why are you exerting so much effort right now?
You're stressing me out, TJ. Kick back more. Oh man, that's better, dude. The vibes in this room were going super negative. TJ's going that super negative
Yeah.
social media.
TJ looks like a
space.
Jello mold that melted in the sun, dude. Look at him.
The jello mold that melts twice as fast. Oh, TJ.
Oh. Well, you know, through no machinations of our own, this all comports very well with the topic for tonight, which TJ, up until very recently when he struggled mightily to stand, was displaying, which is sloth.
The sloth.
Blah blah blah.
It's been a while since we did a 7 Deadly Sins episode.
Yeah.
And we've come nowhere close to completing the 7 Deadly Sins.
We've only done like 2 of them. Gluttony and greed, right?
Gluttony and greed.
We did the 2 G's.
Yeah, we got a playlist.
Both of which that I like both of those. I like gluttony and I like greed. But I gotta say my favorite of these sins is the one we're covering tonight.
Is this your favorite? This is the best?
You
Sloth.
don't say. You know what, Paul? I never would have guessed.
I think this is the one that we probably all 3 of us practice more than any of the other 7 deadly
I
sins.
enjoy Sloth.
I mean, all of us commit every deadly sin, guaranteed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we're all doing all of those. But I have a feeling that it's sloth or sloth or whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it sloth.
Sloth.
I'm calling it sloth for the purposes of tonight. I guarantee you we're
Sloth.
all a lot more guilty of sloth.
I don't know what that was.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know what the hell was that, dude?
Oh, the decadence of Sloth.
I don't often pause, TJ, but you really just perplexed me when you did that.
The fuck is wrong with you, TJ?
I don't know, boy.
Maybe that's maybe that's tonight's show instead of Sloth. What the fuck is wrong with TJ? Like, what happened to him to make him this way?
Sloth is probably part of that.
Yeah, we've toiled in that field before. I don't know if we're gonna get back.
Oh wait, that's what this is because we're doing an episode on Sloth.
Yeah.
So let's find out
Find out what's wrong with
simultaneously
me.
what the fuck is wrong with TJ.
Yeah.
And find out a little bit about sloth. Now, a lot of people may think that sloth is a uniquely kind of Christian sin, but you'd be wrong.
Wrong.
Many religions, poo-poo the idea of kicking back and binging some Netflix instead of taking care of
Of course they do, because
obligations.
religions are always made by the powerful, and they don't
Right.
want people to just fucking
Right.
relax
You've
and take
gotta-
a load off. They
You've
want
gotta
them working.
toil. You've got to toil in the mines, otherwise we can't sell the product back to you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, they need money to afford all these gold statues and shit.
Right.
So
and Buddhist sloth is considered to be maybe, I guess, mathematically even worse than Christian
shit.
sloth because it's part of only 5 hindrances.
okay, so we got the 7 sins. They got the 5 hindrances.
Right. And the 5 hindrances of Buddhism are sensual desire, guilty; ill will,
Hell
guilty
yeah.
as fuck;
Damn.
sloth and torpor, guilty.
What is torpor?
Torpor is a word, we'll talk about it a little later, but to define it, it's just like a state of complete inactivity.
Oh, cool. I like that
damn,
too.
dude.
Restlessness or worry,
Who can help that?
What?
right? And
Like
doubt.
that's just whatever.
Doubt.
Doubt.
Yeah, and you are a proud doubter.
I'm proud of all these things.
Yeah, see? That's why you're never going to get to nirvana. You're constantly going to be stuck in the cycle of samsara, TJ, endlessly reliving your mistakes,
Cool.
while everybody else is just having a perpetual orgasm that is nirvana.
Give
TJ.
me no insult, dude. Torporous TJ.
Yeah, torpor TJ.
Damn. I don't like it.
So sloth and torpor is defined in Buddhist literature as heaviness of body and
Got it.
dullness of mind,
Yep.
which drag one down into disabling inertia and thick depression.
Woo. That depression is thick.
So, yes, I'm very guilty of this Buddhist version of sloth as well. Yeah, this just kind of goes into a little more detail. In the Theravada tradition, Athena or torpor, or a sloth, is said to occur in conjunction with midha or torpor, which is defined as a morbid state that's characterized by unwieldiness, lack of energy, and an opposition to wholesome activity.
Cool. Yeah, I have all that.
Yeah, fuck wholesome activity, dude. Fuck, let's do some wholesome shit.
Yeah, like, hey guys, let's go clean up trash on the highway. Nah. Let's throw trash on the highway.
Yes, please. Because that wouldn't be sloth, because that's an active action. You're actively deciding to go out and cause trouble.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I mean, that's just because I want to go
Sloth would
to
be
the
like
Burger
telling
King,
it'd be like telling us you're gonna do that and then just spending the night binging on Netflix,
which is
and
probably what'll happen.
eating caramel
Dude, you
corn.
know what it is?
Ooh, caramel corn's good.
We think people like Stevie are unique in society. Like, man, but you know what the truth is? I think there's just a lot of lazy fucks in the world, and it's like, look, we gotta have like a commandment or some rule against being lazy. And you have to make it like no one wants to just be told by another person they're lazy. Like you have to make it religious.
yeah, it's
shit.
got to be like God or the fucking cosmic
God says-
consciousness or whatever the fuck.
God says you can't be
Like,
lazy.
oh, don't be a lazy fuck. It's like, yeah, well, let me ask you this. How many lazy fucks have started wars, huh? How many lazy fucks have started a
I mean,
war?
if you're the king, you can be pretty lazy and start a war.
Well, that's true. But
Yeah,
if you're
you got
just
a point.
if you're a lazy ass peasant, though, are you starting a war? You're not even fucking lifting a finger to hurt nobody.
if you're a fucking
You're
lazy
too
ass
lazy
peasant,
to even
you know
go
what?
and fucking beat no one's ass or anything.
A lazy ass peasant more than likely would be a dead ass peasant.
Yeah, you're a mouth to feed at that point, though.
Yeah.
Somebody else is having to exert their labor to take care of you. because
Good.
You're too lazy.
Good. That's
I
how
mean-
it should be.
Well, you're going to hell, TJ.
Good.
I'm just letting you know.
I hope it's a lazy place.
Lazy, interesting that you should bring that up, TJ. It's not really mentioned when you hear Buddhists talk about sloth.
I
and
thought it was
torpor.
pretty much interchangeable.
Well, I think they break down laziness, because I think lazy is a term that gets thrown around a lot that is really an amalgamation of different things. So, as we said before, it's like they call it a morbid state characterized by unwieldliness, lack of energy, and opposition to wholesome activity.
You're probably the most unwieldy
Right.
of the three of us, Paul.
I believe that to be true. And it's interesting because really what they're describing is depression. Basically.
So basically, depression is a sin.
Right. And I guess the Buddhists differ. They say that you allow yourself to slip into this state of depression. They don't really recognize it as a mental disorder that you have little control over or a genetic predisposition for.
No, it's just like, fuck you. You're slothful, bitch.
You're fucking choosing to be a depressed little bitch.
Depression is dismissed largely in Chinese culture as a myth. I mean, they don't. Not only can you really not find treatment for it, but they don't even really believe it's a thing. They look at the person who is depressed and see the source of the problem in their own choices.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're too lazy. You're not doing enough.
There's plenty of Americans that have
You're
the
not
same
engaging in the
mentality,
right
too.
the right activities. Oh yeah, you definitely
Culturally, we might be a little bit better about it, but I mean, ultimately, there's tons of Americans who feel the same way about depression.
And interestingly enough, 18% of the Chinese populace is Buddhist, and Buddhism prescribes mindfulness and meditation
Of course.
as treatments for this, which are actually becoming more and more accepted as modern treatments for depression. So even though they have kind of a limited scope when it comes to depression in terms of understanding it or even believing it exists as a disorder, they may be at least a little bit onto something in practicing meditation and mindfulness.
It seems like meditation is the perfect excuse for the slothful person, though, because you could just be sitting there, like, not doing anything, and people are like, man, why don't you get off your lazy ass? You'd be like,
I'm meditating.
bitch, I'm meditating. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm using the prescribed technique to fucking deal with my problem.
When it comes to Chinese people, though, the meditation, like the Buddhist method, is really the only thing they have access to. They make all of our psychiatric drugs, but there's nobody you can really go to in China to talk about your problems with and get you on one of these. Asian Americans are 3 times less likely to seek mental health services than white Americans. So there's this like kind of cultural antipathy towards.
It's like, that's not real.
Yeah, don't even like. Why would I come and tell you all my fucking problems? I'm the source of all that shit. I'm too lazy. I got to get off my fucking dumper.
And even if you wanted to at that point, there's a strong cultural influence against doing so.
Right. Suicide is, as an addendum on the end of this little block here, is incredibly taboo in Chinese culture. So when it does happen, it's often covered up as some other kind of death.
Oh, like an accident or something.
Right. Yeah. But
it's funny because in America, like, a lot of times, parents will come into the room and find that their, son has died doing some sort of, like, masturbatory, like, autoerotic asphyxiation.
Right.
And then they'll basically, like, clean them up and put their pants back on and be like, it was a suicide, because it's less shameful.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens in a lot of countries where that's walked in on. But enough about Buddhism. We're not here to talk about Buddhism. I just thought it was an interesting little concept. We're here to talk about Christian sloth.
Yeah, let's talk about the one true religion.
Right. The 7 deadly sins, of course, boiling forth from the festering.
Yeah, fuck these 5 hindrance bullshit. The fuck like that.
You want to take a little break there?
You shut up, Paul. You shut your goddamn mouth, boy.
Jesus Christ. Hold yourself together.
I'm teaching.
You want to kick it fucking take you fucking sloth. The concept of what the fuck are you doing?
You know what that really is, TJ? That's the true old man McGee, dude.
Just take a second and cough it out, bro.
No, dude. Fuck you. This is my new character. Let me just tell you something. Christianity.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Oh, dude,
exactly.
the
It's all about Jesus Christ.
Dude, I know people are going to be throwing their headphones off after that fucking shit, because I wanted to throw mine off.
R.I.P. headphone users.
God, you're fucking shit, TJ.
Oh my God.
What an
TJ.
obnoxious bastard he
You
is.
really are.
You really fucking are, though.
Loathsome creature. Oh, but enough about TJ being loathsome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sloth. Go to the
Yeah.
next picture there, TJ.
I don't want to. This picture's better.
You like this picture?
No, here you go. It's Jesus.
Oh,
I like this guy.
Space
sweet.
Jesus.
Space Jesus. Oh, Jesus in space.
So I'm sure we mentioned it in our other 2 episodes, but as a review, the 7 deadly sins aren't specifically listed together anywhere in the Bible.
No. Oh, really?
They're rather proclaimed by religious leaders and scholars.
So they basically made it up.
Right.
Of
Okay.
course.
This classification originated with the Desert Fathers, especially Evagrius Ponticus, who identified 7 or 8 evil thoughts or spirits that one needed to overcome.
What's the lost sin?
I don't know.
Damn.
Evagrius's pupil, John Cassian, wrote his book, The Institutes, brought the classification to Europe, where it became fundamental to Catholic confessional practice, as evident in penitential manuals. So basically, somebody just decided that, like, in a book that really paints all sin as the same, any sin against the Father is just as bad as any other. Somebody just kind of decided, like, no, there's 8 that are really bad. And then somehow it got trimmed down to 7 before it was,
Probably some ruler or something. It's like,
dude.
ooh, that one describes me too much. Get rid of that one.
It's just an innovation in religion. It's like, you know what? Let's make this more digestible to people. Like, these are 7 really bad things you can't do.
I mean,
What
you got to
about
admit, 7 deadly sins sounds better than 8 deadly sins.
right.
8
does.
it doesn't. 7 has kind of a mystical quality to
Got
it.
an
for some
edge
reason.
to it.
Yeah.
But when you have
too.
when you have almost like rules like that, it's like the 10 Commandments. Everyone remembers that because like there's 10 here's some 10 fucking rules you got to listen to, and it's the same thing. It's
I mean,
like
think about it. The
George
movie,
Carlin did that in his whole routine.
That's what
with
I'm
the
saying.
10
the
commandments.
movie 7 would have been called 8.
Yeah,
That's
that is-
terrible.
yeah.
no, dude,
Gross.
You know what I mean?
doesn't work.
8. There's no 7 is an edgy number. You're right, Paul.
It is.
Because if you look at it, it looks like it's something you could stab someone with. 8 looks friendly. It looks like a big pair of sideways titties. or
7 looks
something.
like a scythe.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
a fucking
dude.
Reaper's scythe coming to claim your ass. It's coming for you.
So, as would be customary, let's do a little reading from the Bible. Let's find out what the Bible has to say about sloth.
Okay.
I've got 9 passages here for us to digest.
All right.
Number 1, Ecclesiastes 10:18. Through slothfulness, the roof.
The roof.
The roof. The
roof. The roof.
Let me try that again.
fire.
Let me take that one from the top.
Yeah.
Through slothfulness, the roof deteriorates and a house leaks because of idleness.
That's true.
Ah.
I'll tell you what. Living in a house as I do.
Am I living in a box?
I know that it's fucking constant bullshit and maintenance, and there's always some fucking goddamn thing that needs to be fucking done
How
until
about
the robots come.
Well, let's see if you identify with this next one then, TJ.
Okay.
Proverbs 12:24. Hard-working hands gain control, but lazy hands do slave labor.
Oh shit.
I'm not sure I understand it. Let me just hold on.
Hard-working hands gain control, so just take that on its own.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So having hard-working hands
You're
means
in-
you
you're
have
in
control
control.
into your life.
Yeah, you're in control of your own destiny.
right.
But lazy hands do slave labor.
See, that's where I think I get lost. Explain that to me.
It means that if you're not out there making something yourself, then you're just doing work for somebody else.
Exactly.
But
If
if your hands are truly lazy, they're not doing any work for anybody.
If you're unwilling to go out, well, I mean, it's assuming you got to understand at this time, if you were lazy, nobody was coming around. There was no Meals on Wheels.
right.
no.
You couldn't be lazy. So people that wanted to be lazy and didn't want to apply themselves fully had to go do slave labor for other people.
So basically, they're too lazy to do the hard work it takes to really make something of themselves. So they end up just doing the bare minimum, and that's usually working for somebody else.
Right.
Gotcha.
Another proverb here, 13:4. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied.
So basically saying you don't fucking work, you don't eat.
Yeah, I mean,
know.
in a basic sense, that's what it's saying. But it's it's also saying that people that set goals
Mm-hmm.
and then doggedly pursue those goals get to reap the benefits of the final product,
Right.
whereas the person that's unwilling to apply the effort gets nothing.
Yeah, you reap
and
what
they
you-
expect nothing, and they have
you reap what you sow.
right.
Okay.
Another proverb. This is 12:27 and 28. A lazy hunter does not catch his prey, but a hard-working person becomes wealthy. Everlasting life is on the way of righteousness. Eternal death is not along its path.
Okay.
So those kind of inform one another, and it's kind of the same idea. The hunter that just kind of falls asleep under the tree with his rifle across his chest. He doesn't bring home anything to eat. But the hardworking person gets more than they need to eat. They become
Right.
wealthy.
Yeah, bountiful.
So that's kind of the same as the 13:4.
Yep.
But what is this other part? This everlasting life is on the way of righteousness. Eternal death is not along its path.
I mean, I think it's comparing being diligent with everlasting life and eternal death with just, giving up and accepting whatever comes your way.
Okay.
Another proverb. A lot of proverbs here.
Yeah.
This is 26:16. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly.
That's definitely true. That's basically an early identification of that psychological...
The Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yeah, Dunning-Kruger. That's what I'm looking
the
for.
dumber you are, the smarter you think everything you say is.
Yeah.
Listen, I have the best words.
Man, that makes me think I'm probably a fucking retard.
I know, me too.
Proverbs 19:15 and 16. Slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, and the negligent soul shall suffer hunger. He that keeps the commandment keeps his own soul, but he that despises his ways shall die.
Okay.
There's a lot going on in that one. It's saying if you just are secretly kind of like a non-participant in your own life, and you kind of despise everything around you,
Which I do.
that's death.
Cool. So I'm already dead. So that's good.
Fucking.
So I don't
dead,
even have to be afraid of death because I'm already dead, according to the Bible.
How about this one that's pointing its finger right at you, TJ?
All
Proverbs 6:9. Good proverb.
Ooh, 69,
Yep.
bro.
How long will you lie there, you sluggard?
As long as
When
I
will you
can.
get up from your sleep?
I don't know. I mean, I'll lay here for as long as I possibly can. That's for sure.
And when will you get up from your sleep?
I mean, that's the same answer, right?
No.
Okay.
That means when are you getting up?
I don't know. As late as I possibly can get up, I guess.
Damn.
So most days for you about
Until
12:30.
I'm basically inert. I mean, like until some outside force acts upon me, I'm not moving.
How about this one, TJ?
Gotcha.
Proverbs 26:12 and 15. There is one thing worse than a fool, and that's a man who's conceited. Do you agree with that?
I mean, I don't know that I necessarily agree. Keep going.
The lazy man won't go out and work. There might be a lion outside, he says.
Oh, that's a good point.
He sticks to his bed like a door to its hinges. He is too tired to even lift his food from his dish to his mouth. Have you ever been that tired?
No.
Where you're just like,
I think my gluttony is a little bit more powerful than my sloth.
Yeah, see, I'm the other way around. I'm definitely a glutton, but I think sloth rules the day for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in my case, like, because I mean, there have been times where I've been dead tired, but if I'm even a little hungry, I'll get out of that bed and go fucking fix myself a snack.
Well, a true sloth would basically be like you would work harder not to do something than actually just do it. Even because people don't think about that angle too. There's people that will work hard just so they don't have to do.
Yeah,
something.
the industriousness of laziness,
Yep.
dude.
Our last proverb for the night. This is 20:12 and 13. The ear that hears and the eyes that sees, the Lord has made them both. Do not love sleep, lest you become impoverished.
Well, didn't he make that too?
Yeah, but everything in moderation, TJ.
Oh.
You can participate in sleep because you have to, but don't love it.
Look, should you sleep a couple hours? That's like saying don't sleep all day, TJ. Don't sleep the day away. Wake
Gotcha.
up. Go outside.
It
Get
says
that
open your
sunshine.
eyes so that you might be satisfied with food.
Well, I never had no problem being satisfied with food.
But you have to get up and do things to get the money to get the food, right?
I guess.
Yeah, you do.
Sure.
What do you mean you guess?
I guess.
If you just literally decided I'm going to lay in my bed and do nothing for the rest of my life, somebody would eventually have to start bringing you food of their own fucking, you know what I mean? You don't have enough money to just lay here in this house forever.
God, I wish I did. That'd be so cool.
If you did, you probably wouldn't be doing this. You'd be
I'd have a better house.
I know where I'd be. I'd be on my fucking compound, away
Yeah.
from everybody.
Paul and his
I'd be
isolated in his
alone on my
compound.
fucking desert island with all my pinball machines and my big screen TV.
Cool.
So sloth is more of a sin of omission. If you read these, it's kind of like lack of good works, lack of trying to take care of yourself,
That's why you get the lack of actually doing something.
lack of self-improvement.
Mm-hmm.
It's complacency. And penance and failure to apply the 7 virtues to one life. So I didn't know this, but to pair with the 7 deadly sins, there are actually 7 virtues.
Oh, okay.
1 for each sin. So you can see here they're presented pretty easily.
So it's
Pride,
like basically like the opposite of each sin is a
right.
virtue.
Pride, and the opposite of pride is humility. So arrogance and modesty.
Dude, let me tell you something. I am probably one of the most humble people that has ever existed on the face of this earth.
That's
dude.
the most prideful statement anybody's ever made.
Oh, oops.
You just fucked up, TJ.
Damn it.
You tipped your hand.
Arrogance, pride, TJ, all the sins you are guilty of.
Yeah.
Another sin that TJ's very guilty of, avarice or greed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
The opposite of that, the 7 virtues,
Well, look, listen.
would be generosity and charity.
And let me tell you something. I am a fucking super generous person because one time I stole this poor family's money, right? Thus freeing them from avarice and greed, So basically, really, I gave them not only, I gave them humility through my generosity of stealing their money. So.
Oh, dude, you also had the virtue of kindness, TJ. So
That's a very arrogant way of helping a family.
Oh no, it's not.
Envy, of course, jealousy. We're all guilty of this from time to time.
See, I don't really have that one too bad.
Yeah, what?
No, I'm not really.
You're always talking about a goddamn motherfucker out there has all the money in the world. Why can't I have that?
I never fucking said that.
We were just having a conversation before about how they should listen to us when they make movies, because if they made our movies, it'd be better.
Yeah, they would, though.
That's jealousy of the people that get to make movies.
Not really.
Yeah,
it's just contempt for what they make.
It isn't.
I don't really have a problem with
You want to
them.
be where they are making the decisions on movies. You're jealous.
That's true.
That's envy. When you see some fucking guy rolling down the street
But you know
in
what?
a car you want,
I still maintain that of the 7 sins that I display, I probably have the least of that one compared to the others.
well, I mean, I think envy is in everybody's life to some extent. The opposite of envy is kindness and gratitude, which I don't know if it really fits.
Yeah, that's not all these other the other 2 so far were exact opposites, whereas kindness is not necessarily the exact opposite of envy.
I guess gratitude and jealousy could be antonyms.
Yeah, I can see that, I guess.
Instead of wanting what others have, you're grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
So I guess I can see it.
I don't really see that. I mean, okay, so to some extent, gratitude is definitely a good thing.
Right.
But I mean, there can be a point where gratitude itself leads to the sort of complacency that they're condemning here, because you're too grateful for what you have. You're not fucking getting up to go out there and work and get something more for yourself.
It's also teaching
you have to want something more to work, to be motivated to work for something more.
Yeah, but it's just that you do the work. I mean, it's not like you're going to escape your station in life. It's just like you have to accept. It's like it sucks, but you have to accept it because there's a better life.
But all the stuff we just read in the Proverbs about sloth is about getting up and going and working for something better for yourself.
You're misunderstanding.
If you don't want that, then
you're thinking from the term that gratitude is only bestowed upon gifts and great things in your life.
Well, no, I'm talking about just being grateful for what you have in life, just in general.
But that includes being grateful for getting up every morning and having a job to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Being grateful to have work that you can do with your hands, so that when you come home at the end of the day, you can be grateful for the soup that you can afford to buy.
Right, but
it's not necessarily good things.
I'm saying if you have too much gratitude, like if you're just totally I'm just everything I have, this is fine. Then that's not really playing into some of these proverbs we read, where it's like, don't be a lazy worker, be a hard worker, so that you can rise your station in life and all this.
Well, I don't know. I don't know
how are you gonna have desire for that higher station if you're not envying the person that already has it?
Because if you do nothing, you'll have nothing to be grateful for. You'll be dead.
Sure.
So you have to extend gratitude beyond the cool things that you have to the shit that you hate. I'm grateful that I've got a job. I'm grateful that I have this car payment because it means I have a car.
Right.
Which means I can get around.
Sure.
Yeah. But I think you have to consider about.
But you gotta want a little more, though. I feel like envy is a good thing. Gratitude's a good thing too, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like both, you have to have those in measure.
Well, I mean, isn't there kind of a gray area? I mean, it's not necessarily that it's bad to have those things. It's just that when you take, if you're just too envious.
Well, I don't see no gray area when it's deadly sins and principal virtues, is what I'm saying.
Well, no, I get what you're saying with that, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like the reality is what you're arguing. It's like it's more in the middle of these things.
Yeah.
We've got wrath, which we did a show on, which is anger.
Yeah.
The only deadly sin that I personally am not.
Or wait, I thought we did greed and gluttony.
I thought we did wrath.
We did wrath
and
and gluttony. Okay,
Yeah.
we didn't do greed. Sorry.
No.
I was wrong earlier when I said that.
Yeah, we did wrath and gluttony.
We did excess.
It's very humble of me to admit that just now, by the way.
I'm sure.
You know, I myself never angry, never wrathful. In fact, I'm a model of the virtue that mirrors wrath, which is patience and compassion. Ever there was a patient and compassionate person, that guy was Paul's ego. Also,
I would have to
Very
100%
modest.
agree with that.
That is
for
such
sure.
a totally truthful statement.
there it is.
I've never seen Paul upset or angry. Always patient, always compassionate, always thinking of others.
Now, out of all of these, I think this is the most bullshit one. Lust or impurity, which I don't even really think.
I mean, isn't that kind of required for the propagation of the human species?
is.
Right.
And chastity would be deadly to the human race. I mean, it's just like that's totally in reverse. Those should be flipped.
Yeah, it really should. Now, of course, if you take lust too far,
Sure.
you know, that goes.
You end up with
that goes
Bill
wrong.
Cosby or something.
Right.
You know, that's you know.
Want to see my pudding pop?
And chastity, yeah, that just ensures that the human race isn't going to survive.
Which
so.
maybe the Bible knows a little bit more than it's letting on. Like, yeah, don't fuck.
Yeah.
Just die off.
Into this.
End this shit.
We did gluttony as well.
Which that's my favorite.
This is TJ's sin for sure.
I love this sin. I love eating. I fucking am a voracious eater. And, you know, it's not even necessarily that I eat, like, big meals or something, but, like,
Decadent.
when when no prying eyes are upon me, I'm fucking, like, I raid the kitchen and just graze and just eat, like, you know, sleeve after sleeve of crackers and cheese
Dude,
and
I've seen
meats
you-
and whatever the fuck else.
Dude, I've like watched like 2.5 hour movies, and TJ will just hang around the kitchen, not talking to anyone, just be like, he'll keep opening it, looking around. He'll select something, eat a ton of it, go back. You still do that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, dude, when we all lived together, me and TJ used to have like 4 a.m. Like basically competitions to see who could be the most gluttonous while we sat there in the middle of the night and watched something and didn't talk. Like, I would get up and go get like 5 Oreos and come back and eat them. TJ would go back and get the whole thing, sit down and eat them. Then I'd make a ramen, and TJ would make a ramen, and then, you know, he'd grab some chips on his way back, and I'd be like, oh, fuck yeah. And as soon as he put the chips down, I'd grab them.
God, you guys are like an enabling circle jerk of,
Oh, God.
of
Yeah.
gluttony.
It was just a little unspoken competition to see who could, you know, stop eating first.
Paul switching up with
See-
a PB&J tonight?
See,
Go ahead,
I have
PB&J.
I do remember us doing that, but I don't ever remember feeling like it was a competition between us. I was just
It
fucking
definitely
enjoying
had all
myself.
the elements of it, because I was, you know, without me sitting there and grabbing the bag of pretzels, you might
Yeah.
not have. You know what I mean?
But, you know, I think that really went more to my envy than anything, because
yeah.
I was just like, ooh, I want that.
yeah, he's got pretzels.
He's got pretzels. I want fucking pretzels. Fuck that.
Paul's got 2 hot dogs. I want 2 hot
But
dogs.
it's not like I need to compete against him. It's just like I want that too.
Maybe on a
I'm not angry that you have it and I don't. I'm
Maybe
just
on a-
like I want it as well.
Well, maybe on a subconscious level, you kind of.
So I guess there's a little bit of a competitiveness
gluttony.
to it.
Like I said, it was an unspoken competition. It wasn't like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna go make a grilled cheese then. But like, it was like,
Oh my god, a grilled cheese would be so good right now.
I'd see you making a grilled cheese, and I'd go like, as soon as he's done with that, I'm making a grilled cheese too.
I make
gotta
a good
have
grilled
that.
cheese too.
God, I wish I could have a fucking melt grilled cheese sandwich.
Oh, that'd be
So
good.
it's clear we both love gluttony. The opposite being, of course, temperance or moderation. Fuck those things.
Clearly not in the wheelhouse of us.
And finally, we get to tonight's topic, sloth or laziness. Which I kind of take, I think laziness, like I said before, is too broad a term and should be really disassociated from sloth.
Right.
There's more going on. Of course, the opposite of sloth being diligence or fervor.
Right.
Being, you know, kind of up and at 'em, up by 5 a.m., up with the sun, ready to face the day of hard work. And
Right.
So,
You know, I don't know that I'm necessarily super slothful, honestly. Like I feel like there's a part of I mean like well there's like
TJ.
What? How are you gonna argue this?
How am I gonna argue?
Yeah, I mean like look, listen to my let me make the case. Hold on.
I
let
have
me-
never heard a more
Hold on.
ridiculous
Shut
statement. How could you argue that TJ is lazy?
Hold on, let me make my case here.
And slothful.
Let me make my case. I mean just look at today, right? I get up.
You know
Shut
what?
up.
I think you have the more uphill battle, so go ahead.
All right, yeah. So give me my fair shake then.
Give my fair
If it's so easy to poke these holes in, then you fucking do it.
It will be. Go ahead.
Check it out. So I mean, like, right. So this sloth and laziness, it says a lack of fucking self-improvement or doing good works and all that.
right.
Look, I've been cooking regularly. I've been improving in my cooking skills. I've been working out.
All in furtherance of your gluttony.
Well, but I've been working out too.
All in furtherance of your pride.
Oh man!
You're
All right, never mind. I didn't know you were going that tactic with it. Fine.
You're fucked, TJ.
TJ, you basically are the definition.
But that's not
of
sloth,
the
though.
deadly sins.
That's not sloth, though. I'm saying that goes against my sloth. So I think my sloth is below my pride. It's below my gluttony.
I didn't say it was your top sin, but it's definitely on the list.
I'm just saying it ain't. I think it's probably on the lower
But-
half
but-
of them
but-
sins.
But what
for me.
happens is like these other things contribute to the other 7 deadly sins you're committing.
All right, so hold on. Let me break this down.
But I'll break down. Can I break down your sloth though? Because
Yeah.
obviously you're making the argument.
I'm not saying I don't have any sloth. I'm just saying I don't think I'm super into the sloth because I do a lot of stuff.
I think by your standard, you do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I think like maybe the standard you've set for yourself. But TJ, we grew up together, dude. You were the
Right.
laziest fucking kids
But
I've ever seen.
I'm just saying I've improved since then. I've got
Yes,
yeah.
you've definitely improved
This is
since
TJ 2.0.
then.
we're
Dude,
looking at.
TJ's room would like be a tornado. Like he would never clean
We've heard the stories,
I'm-
dude,
I'm-
of
like,
his
he would
room
never
being so
click-
filthy and him trying to pay you to do it.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
not
awesome.
even going down that route. I'm like, he would never clean anything. I'm talking about TJ personally. Like, TJ would lay about all day. He played video games. Like, he almost never went outside. unless
That's
he was,
playing video games is a thing.
I mean, you were doing something.
I'm doing something.
It's a slothful activity.
yeah.
No, it's not. There's
Yeah,
no
it
such
is.
thing as it's a fucking.
TJ would never
That's
go
a-
outside and
what's
ride
it
his
called?
bike. I remember he had a bike, but he never fucking
It's an
rode things.
oxymoron, is what that is.
Is sitting slack-jawed on your TV, in front of your TV for 16 hours in a day, binge watching a show?
Yeah, TJ, what are
an
your
act
hobbies?
Of, an act of diligence and fervor?
Depends on how active of a watcher you are.
Yeah, if you're doing jumping
TJ,
jacks.
Are
you
you
don't do-
engaged in the program you're watching? That's the real question.
TJ, I'm like, yeah, you've got a little
Not
better.
not all labor is physical. There's such a thing as mental labor as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I mean, sure.
you could be a very active
I
watcher.
I
that's
grant that that's
deeply
an
contemplating
active
what you're
watcher,
watching. Yeah.
TJ. I've seen you, dude. Half the time you're vegging out on your phone while a movie plays, and you're like, oh, okay.
All right, so hold on, Scotty. Let me just break it down for me, and you can break it down for you. And Paul, you guys can do it if you want, but I'm gonna fucking rank myself on these goddamn sins. All right,
Okay.
from most to least,
All right.
because I think I figured it out. So I'm pretty sure gluttony's at the top for me.
Okay.
Then probably pride, then probably lust, then greed, and then kind of a toss-up between envy and wrath, and then sloth, and I think that's everything. So I think sloth is actually the least of my sins.
Oh man, I do
All
not
right,
know if
TJ.
I agree with that
At this
all.
point, now maybe if you were talking about 15-year-old me, which is apparently the me that still exists in your head.
I would put wrath like lower on that. Like you do have moments where you get like,
Oh, I just bottle it up more.
yeah, like you have like moments where you just like rage out for sure. But like I would say those are few and far between. Most times you're just gonna be like, well, whatever. I mean, and the only times you really get truly mad is usually when like even in your mind you can't defend your actions, so you just get like super upset. Probably more at yourself than anything else.
So you tell me your fucking order of sins, Scotty. What's top for you?
man. Oh,
Is it wrath or is it avarice? Because I know it's one of those two.
wrath is definitely my top sin.
Yeah, Scotty's an angry guy.
Yeah, like wrath is. Yeah,
I don't know. You pretty fucking greedy too, Scotty.
I know I'm greedy. but-
Definitely number 2, avarice.
Yeah, greedy is number 2 for sure.
All right.
Probably. I'm trying. So maybe pride would come after that. I definitely can see myself falling into that pretty easily. I'm not too envious, so I probably put like lust. Then probably envy. Then probably gluttony, and then sloth.
I would say gluttony. I would put gluttony on the bottom for you.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not familiar with all your eating habits, but from what I've seen, you don't really see. I mean, you like eating a good meal or something here and there, but I've never seen you just like tear apart a fucking pantry. Now maybe it's happened.
I have done that before.
Okay.
I have definitely oh man, I used to like definitely after the DP days we do those long Friday episodes, and I would just like, dude, I don't know if you remember this, TJ, but me and you would just order like a menagerie of wings and pizza or whatever. Like give me
yeah.
the double deep dish pizza and just like devour everything, and you Jiro would and Salvador would come in and just like when we got 2 stoned or whatever, just clean up the rest.
Why don't you lay it out, Paul?
I think Sloth is at the top of mine.
Okay.
I'm a body in motion tends to stay in motion, and I like to keep my body out of motion.
Sure.
I'd say second on this would probably be gluttony for me. I love eating, so that's gotta be number 2.
Can't blame you there.
Number 3, probably wrath. Now, I'm not as prone to lashing out as a lot of people, but I'm angry a lot of the time. I got a lot of anger.
It seethes within you.
It really does. I'm driven by anger in a lot of ways. So I would, if I didn't put that third, I would probably be lying. I'd say after that, probably envy before avarice. I think those are 2 kind of intrinsically linked ones for sure.
Yeah.
But I'd say I'm probably a little more envious than I am greedy. I'm
Sure.
greedy. I'll cop to being a greedy fuck, but it doesn't drive me in the way it does some others.
That makes sense.
And then I would say probably if envy comes or if avarice comes after envy, then the last one would probably be lust.
Not a very lustful dude.
I mean, I like having sex and shit, but I just don't feel driven by my loins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're
What
saying.
about pride? Because you didn't factor that in.
Oh, pride. Pride would Pride would probably go above envy in between, or below envy in between that and avarice.
Gotcha.
So I would, like third or fourth would be pride, and then down the line. But yeah, definitely the last lust for me, and the first sloth for sure.
Cool.
I think everyone's list is pretty accurate from my estimation, except for TJ's thing with Sloth. Like, that should probably be number 2.
No.
It should definitely be number 2. I agree. I definitely agree with the gluttony thing. You are a total fucking glutton, hedonistic type. But what pairs very well with that is lust and sloth, which you are also definitely guilty of those two things.
Let me just be clear.
You're a very lustful motherfucker,
when it comes to every single sin on this list, I have more than my fair share.
Yes.
There's the 7 deadly sins might as well just be like the 7 attributes of TJ.
I mean, I don't see you as a super envious person as compared to, I see
That's
more...
true. I'm not really super envious, and I'm not really super wrathful, I feel like. But,
No.
I mean, I have those components in me. I think
mean,
everyone has that.
You have them, but it's like they're not something they're not like a driving force in your life. Like, you're not someone that's ever really been super angry. You're kind of just like, meh, if you want to do that, I don't really care. Like, you're always just kind of live and let live.
My
type.
anger is more, it's not really usually directed at individual people for some wrong I feel like they've done. It's usually directed more at, like, the state of the world or something.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. But yeah, Sloth, dude, number 2.
All right. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
So let's talk about some modern examples of sloth, maybe some characters that portray it. And when I went looking for these, I found quite a few. And it's really what I focused on, Disney characters who kind of exemplify the idea of sloth. You guys remember this guy?
Yeah, actually, this is Hopper from A Bug's Life.
Bug's Life, that's it.
He actually makes one of my favorite movie speeches of all time. It's not a long speech, but it's just really fucking poignant where he's talking to 2 of his fellow grasshoppers who are just like, we got more than enough food. We don't need to fucking go fuck with those ants, like fuck them, whatever. And this guy, and he's like, oh, okay, well, here's the fucking algebra, bitch. The ants outnumber us, so if we don't fucking keep them in line, then our entire way of life is threatened. And they're basically, they basically subsist on stealing food from the hardworking, diligent ants so that they can live this, slothful, lazy
So it's
lifestyle.
basically isn't the one that's basically based on Seven Samurai?
Yeah, it's pretty much Seven Samurai with bugs, and where there is kind of a twist where the warriors they hire are not actually warriors, but a circus troupe.
Yeah,
but,
they're kind of clueless.
But other than that, it's basically A Bug's Life. It's basically Seven Samurai.
A pretty good example, at least in his motivations, of somebody who seems driven by sloth more than anything. I mean, certainly when you're talking about making, basically forcing the ants to work for you, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yes.
He forces them to gather food for his stockpiles. And, there's a lot more. There's envy going on. He's envious, of course, of their abundant food. But I think even Sloth intercedes there because he's envious of it, but not envious enough to go out and be just as diligent as the ants and get the food. He's so slothful, he just wants them to get the food for him. Which is interesting, at least to see a character so abundantly filled with just that pretty perfect example of what we're talking about.
I mean, yeah, they have to have that motivation of like, I'm just too lazy to do shit for myself. I need someone else to do it. So
And he uses his wrath in order to
facilitate
his sloth.
Of course. As in the Christian belief, Hopper's laziness leaves room for more sin that comes in the form of his wrath. When the ants are unable to gather food for Hopper, he unleashes a fury upon them, threatening to break the Christian commandment, thou shalt not murder. So he's, definitely got the wrath thing down. Definitely a good dose of envy in this villainous character. But it's not all villains that are driven by their sloth. There's definitely another character here that we could argue is defined by his slothfulness. Maybe more in the Buddhist way of thinking about slothfulness.
Okay.
Yeah, just like, all right.
Good old Eeyore. Nothing really matters anyway. It's just a day like any other day
Dude,
to
I
me.
fucking love Eeyore, man.
Who doesn't?
It's hard not to love him.
He's everybody's favorite depressed piece of shit, dude.
Thanks for noticing me.
Thanks for trying. I don't blame you for forgetting me. I forget myself sometimes.
Poor
Oh,
Eeyore, dude.
Eeyore, man.
Every sunny day just means we're that much closer to the next rainstorm.
I love it.
So yeah,
The
but
Tao of Eeyore.
as you can see, two characters that are fundamentally driven by this slothful idea, but it expresses itself very differently in them.
Yeah.
It's not like, everybody that's slothful is this megalomaniacal character who's just desperately trying to live at the behest of other people.
Oh, definitely not.
Eeyore is more driven by this sense of boredom and ennui with life, and really, kind of more driven by just his pessimistic perspective than anything else. Even things that are good are inherently bad.
Inherently, that's a good word for
Yeah,
Eeyore.
he's just kind of like driftwood in life. He just goes through life. It's like nothing really matters.
right.
Tragedy's gonna befall me. If that's just the way of the world, and that's it. Just kind of accepts reality as he sees it.
So we have an aggressive, slothful type, and then we have a passive sort
Yeah.
of slothful
Yeah,
type.
there's a very different, as we go through these, you'll see, there's some very different kind of slothful people. Although not technically created by Disney, Walt Disney's adaptation of Eeyore is an example of the apathy we've been talking about. Eeyore is a character that originally derives from a book by A. Milne, with Winnie the Pooh. He's completely apathetic to the world around him, wallowing in his own sorrow. Disney has characterized him as being able to show great compassion at times. However, his basic nature is apathy. So the sloth comes in, instead of coming out of him in this super lazy desire to be provided for, he just doesn't care. I don't care one way or the other. Doesn't matter to me.
Who gives a rat's ass?
But what about, I think this is the TJ version of sloth here.
Ah, yeah.
Good old Baloo.
Bare necessities,
Baloo.
man.
So Baloo is characterized by his laid-back and gentle nature, often speaking with a soft, smooth tone, the sloth bear, and he's actually called a sloth bear.
Yeah.
That's the species of bear that he is. That's that on the nose. He's known for his ideas of remaining relaxed as often as possible and preventing the pressures and responsibilities of life holding one down. So this is a very different kind of sloth. He's not trying to get everybody to work for him. I mean, he might scam some people into helping him out, but that's not what's driving him. And he's not driven by this overarching sense of pessimism either.
No, he's actually quite optimistic.
In fact, he's the opposite of that. He's like, man, avoiding fucking your responsibilities is the greatest thing in life.
Yeah, just don't get tied down any bullshit and just kind of go through life and do what you want. Life's just a big old buffet and
Dude.
just take what you want when you want and don't fucking worry about it, man.
Yeah, go with the flow, man. It's all good. You get what you get. You don't have what you don't have.
And he's like, I mean, part of that song is like, yeah, don't be fucking, I mean, he even kind of rails against envy in the song where it's like, yeah, don't be fucking looking at something you don't have and wanting that. That's
Right,
too stressful.
exactly.
Just fucking be happy with what you got and keep on moving.
Right.
It's almost like
On to the next
like
thing.
an optimistic sloth there.
Yep. Just, if you lower your expectations, everything's a party. That's basically what Baloo's about. Bagheera, the wise panther in the movie, describes him as a jungle bum, a seemingly useless member of animal society, only focused on lounging, snacking, scratching his back, and other minimal activities labeled as lazy pastimes.
Awesome. Best character ever.
Though
TJ
he's
the character.
Though he's lazy, stubborn, and foreign to true responsibility, Baloo has a huge heart.
Except for that part.
Right. Probably enlarged from his great girth.
Yeah.
But he's not above helping people out. He's not above being called to action if somebody really needs him. But
Sure.
he really likes to be driven by the idea. I'm just going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to enjoy what I got around me, the free stuff. I'm going to shirk my responsibilities to the best of my ability.
Sweet.
Spend most of my time with my feet kicked up. Got another bear on the list, too. Maybe a little less known than Baloo the bear. What about Briar Bear?
Oh, shit. The Song of the South, huh?
Yep.
Damn, Paul's racist for even referencing this.
Briar Bear, silly, goofy, prone to violence.
And high out of his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he looks fucking blazed.
He's more of an example of like a mental slothfulness, where it's like, I'm not going to take responsibility for anything I do. He's basically a henchman. He does whatever he's directed to do.
He's a grunt. He wants someone to tell him where to go, where to stand, and what to do.
He doesn't like being made to think about things, and often responds violently when somebody tries to trick him or make him think about something any deeper than just dismissing it. So, maybe a little combination of Hopper. But he's got the will, he just doesn't have the way. He's got the brawn, he just doesn't have the brains. And so he just kind of is content to being led around by the nose by everybody around him and doesn't want to take any of the responsibility for bettering himself, maybe getting smart, maybe getting wise to some of those tricks that Briar Rabbit is always playing on him.
Yeah, dude, I think he's on the ride, Splash Mountain. Briar Fox is basically just like, he's just like basically the henchman for him.
Right. There's a scene in Song of the South when he's tricked and tied up by Briar Rabbit in Fox's trap. And when Briar Fox finds Briar Bear tied up, he cuts Briar Bear down. Briar Bear then gets into an argument with Briar Fox, claiming, I was making $1 a minute. So I guess the rabbit told him, hey, you'll make $1 a minute just for hanging out here if you just stay tied up over here. So he's actually mad when somebody helps him. He's that slothful.
Damn,
Like, all right,
dude.
now, man, I got to get up.
Too lazy to think about what's right for him.
Yep. And our last Disney character that's obviously evocative of Sloth, a hero, and the best dwarf, Sleepy Dwarf.
I like Grumpy.
Nah, fuck Grumpy.
Everyone loves Grumpy. Dude.
Yeah,
Come
you'd
on,
like
dude.
Grumpy until you had to spend any goddamn time with Grumpy. He'd just be, you know what
Whatever.
I mean?
He's got a heart of gold, dude.
Sleepy Dwarf.
He's got a heart of gold.
Dude, Sleepy, like, the thing I like about a lot of these characters is, they're all just super fucking baked or they're fucking tripping balls. It looks like fucking Sleepy here is just out of his mind.
Yeah, he's on edibles all the time.
Well, why
Sleepy.
not?
He's mixing some THC oil into everything he eats.
I'm gonna say what you want though, but Sleepy still toils in those fucking mines.
Sleepy is always weary, always droopy-eyed, always eager to fall asleep. Most of the scenes featuring Sleepy showcase the drowsy dwarf struggling to even stay awake in the midst of whatever colorful event is taking place. So he's definitely just not even really interested in the outside world as much as he is just being as lazy as possible.
Still had a boner for Snow White, though.
Of course, they all did. But, if Snow White ever was going to let the fucking Seven Dwarfs run train on her, Sleepy probably would have slept through the train.
Poor
Yeah.
Sleepy, dude.
He'd be waking up at the end of it.
Though usually stricken with laziness, he's a hard worker when he has to be, I guess. But he's also a bit of a bumbler due to his laziness, what I think is a commentary on laziness. They let him do good things, but he's not quite as good as the other dwarfs are because he doesn't apply himself. So he's a little more prone to making mistakes, even when he's up and being not slothful.
Well, he's fucking tired. What they expect?
Oh,
of
what
him,
are you
man?
gonna do?
I mean, if you're fucking tired as shit, all the other like maybe he's got a condition. You don't fucking know what's.
If you're gonna drive Sleepy, you're driving impaired. They're asking him to mine for gemstones impaired.
And look, there's no lack of gemstones. Those fucking dwarves are fucking goddamn loaded.
Well, they display avarice, I think.
They're all
for
greedy,
sure.
but only one is lazy. And that's
So that's some Disney characters, and I wanted to kind of ask the audience and you guys, I guess, are there any other Disney characters you think I missed that really exemplify the sloth deadly sin?
Disney?
I the only other one that I thought of is still the same. It's Baloo from the Robin Hood and Little John,
okay.
short. But I mean, it's still Baloo the bear.
Pretty much.
So that was the only other one that really popped up in my mind.
Yeah, I'm thinking of through all the Disney movies I know, and I'm not thinking of any major of them.
Well,
mission.
maybe those of you watching this, whether it's a patron episode or a pleb episode, maybe you can leave some comments and
I mean, I can think of some other characters that are lazy, but I can't think of other Disney characters that are lazy.
And really, it goes beyond just they're a little lazy here and there. They got to be driven by that sloth in some way.
Well, Garfield,
yeah. I mean, he's not
definitely.
a Disney character, but he's definitely an example
I
of
mean,
this.
maybe he is a Disney character by now. I don't know what the fuck. They own everything at this point.
Yeah. Wile E. Coyote, is he slothful?
He's pretty industrious, dude. He tries really hard to catch that fucking Roadrunner.
Right.
He'd actually probably be better off if he were slothful.
Isn't it kind of slothful, though, to keep ordering these traps instead of chasing that goddamn Roadrunner down himself? He's trying to find the easy way to do things. He buys every Acme piece of bullshit ever to
that's a lot of work.
save effort.
He fucking puts all that fucking shit together. I
guess that's true.
I mean, he knows the Roadrunner's too fast for him to catch on foot.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's tried.
Well,
Catch the Roadrunner, dude.
I think we would be remiss in not talking about millennials. Now, I want to fucking make it clear. We actually talked about this relatively recently, and I went off on somebody who was trying to say that all millennials are lazy. I don't believe that. I believe that in some cases, millennials are having to work harder than the preceding generation. And so, don't come fucking trying to choke me. I'm a millennial too, okay? Technically, I'm a millennial.
Very technically.
But there is kind of a newer thing, or at least something that's become more prevalent in the millennial society, and that is the good old failure to launch.
Oh, no.
Or, I never knew this term, but apparently people that suffer from failure to launch are known as NEETs, meaning not in education, employment, or training. So basically being sloths, doing nothing, not bettering themselves at all. And, we've joked about Stevie displaying some of the failure to launch.
Some.
I mean, come on. I'm not trying to throw Stevie under the bus here.
I will.
Stevie's better off than some people that are in this. Especially, what about this guy?
All right.
Look, I'll say Stevie is more of a mild case of this. Like, he does do some stuff, but Stevie could definitely have done a lot more with his life. I mean, sure, you could say almost about everybody, to some degree. But I think, just not leaving home, not really getting a job on his own kind of thing, like just shit like that.
So this is Dwayne Hollingsworth. He's a 35-year-old man who sued his mom after being evicted from the basement. I mean,
Oh, my God.
does it get worse than that? The unemployed 35-year-old who's
that's
never lived
bullshit.
on his own
Fuck that bitch.
was clearly distressed when
Live
I
in the
spoke with him
basement.
Wednesday. She destroyed my life, he exclaimed bitterly, staring at a photo of his mother with a clenched fist.
Isn't that a favor at that point?
I mean, kicking him out?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yes.
if that's your life, then you should be thankful to whoever destroys
This
it.
was done about 15 years too late.
I mean, for proof of this, Dwayne has 3 younger siblings who have all since gone on with their lives and become successful, driven adults, but Dwayne's life just never seemed to take off. He remained content with frittering away his days playing video games and watching anime cartoons.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Anime cartoons, y'all.
Anime cartoons.
Things that are mostly enjoyed by children.
All right, well, the person who wrote this article clearly doesn't know what to talk about on that.
That is not fucking true. Who the fuck wrote this and thought that?
Enjoy your children's cartoons, weebs.
Is this a real article, dude?
Yeah.
It's a real article.
Because it says his picture here, Dwayne Hollingsworth, loser evicted from mother's basement.
Yeah.
I mean, this is legit.
This is legit.
I can't believe someone actually titled loser evicted.
I mean, what would you label him?
I just don't know. I never really felt bad for someone like this, but when there's a caption on a fucking site and it's like loser evicted from, and that's an accurate description. I don't know. You have to feel at least a little bad for them.
I mean, is there any other thing that you would describe somebody that just sits around and plays PlayStation and watch a Rutsuka Doji 2 Basic Instinct battle or whatever the fuck all day?
I guess not, man. I guess not.
After the death of Dwayne's father 2 years ago, his mother Janice gave him this ultimatum. Either get a full-time job, enroll in college, or find somewhere else to live. I'm guessing Dwayne here didn't take option 1 or 2. Didn't get a job. Didn't even try at college. After a handful of paltry attempts to secure employment at various fast food establishments, it was clear that Dwayne would rather spend his time nestled among his My Little Pony figurines in a musky basement than actually work for a living.
So this dude's an idiot.
He's a brony. He's a weeb.
He could have fucking totally spun it. Like, he could have enrolled in a community college and just basically bought himself another 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Taking
a couple classes a semester and just sleeping through them and getting bad grades.
I'm working on my degree.
I'm trying as hard as I can, Mom.
I'm doing and a lot of those classes are done online, so a lot of times he wouldn't even have gone to the fucking campus.
But, I mean, that is a perfect example of sloth. I mean, there's a lazy way he could have gotten around this and continued his lazy lifestyle, but he was too
lazy to do it.
It was clear he wasn't serious about making a living for himself. His mom explained he'd always had some excuse, and frankly, all these excuses were wearing very thin. I just want him to go out so I can enjoy retirement after having lost my husband, and he was becoming an enormous financial burden and didn't seem to care. Dwayne wouldn't budge. He would frequently lash out and blame his siblings and myself for his lot in life. So even too lazy to take responsibility for the fact that he's just a total fucking...
Just like, goddamn, everybody's against me,
God
man.
fucking damn it, Mom! I'm a fucking failure. It's your fault. Don't evict me, you fucking bitch.
It's like, come on, dude.
So eventually the moment of reckoning finally arrived in January of this year. Janice gave Dwayne 30 days to find somewhere else to live, and she says it was 30 days of pure hell. He stormed around the house screaming and crying. I could not believe what a spoiled brat he was at 35 years of age. He always resented me for having more children after he was born. I suppose he just thought he would be the little baby forever, but that clearly is not a healthy way for an adult to live. I think that's a no-shit statement. He claims
Stevie, look at your future, bro.
He claims he has PTSD. That's part of this lawsuit is that her...
PTSD from what?
From being forced to, it says Dwayne finally found a tiny trailer for rent on the outskirts of town. He's currently supporting himself by selling off his vintage action figures and other collectibles. He's also begun taking steps to sue his own mother for damages, pain and suffering, emotional trauma, and a legal eviction. He wants $750,000 for being a loser.
I hope he gets it, man. I hope he wins.
The loser that gets forced out of his mom's basement wants $750,000. Dude, there's no way any fucking one is gonna give this idiot $750,000.
Put me on the jury. I'll give it to him.
It's gonna be a judge, and his case is gonna be dismissed. Never gonna be a trial. It's ridiculous. This guy's an idiot. He's now claiming to have PTSD. And look at the description. Dwayne sat across from me looking distressed and disheveled, wearing grimy gray sweatpants and a threadbare Power Rangers t-shirt, which was clearly too small for his hulking frame.
Wow.
You guys are sure this is legit?
It might not be, but who cares?
I mean, come on.
Who cares?
Look at the bottom of this site, dude. Is this fucking real?
This is a real site,
Please
dude.
tell me this is fake, dude. Keep going to the bottom. Usually it'll say, like, this is satire.
No, this ain't no satire.
Yep.
No, it's not satire.
Is a news and political satire web publication.
Clearly, hackers have invaded the National Report.
This is one of the real ones, though.
Yeah, this one was based on a true story of Dwayne Hollingsworth, the fat Power Rangers loving loser evicted from his mom's basement.
I like it.
No, I liked it. If Dwayne Hollingsworth did exist, perfect example of sloth.
I love it.
Oh, it's perfect.
Who dis?
I thought we'd talk about, because you would think from listening to the description of sloth,
right,
that nobody that suffers from this ever rises to any heights, ever grabs any brass rings, ever achieves anything notable, and you would be wrong.
Wrong.
You would be dead wrong. There have been tons and tons of great leaders of many different types that have been lazy pieces of shit.
Yeah, that's because, it's unfairly maligned to some extent.
Absolutely. Now, this is Emperor Wan Li.
Wan Li.
The longest ruling emperor of the Ming dynasty in China.
Chinese? I love it.
Wan Li came to power at the age of 9 in 1572 and appears to have flamed out rather early. During the last 30 or so years of his 47-year-old rule, Emperor Wan Li descended into a life of food, drink, and debauchery, becoming so obese in his latter years that he needed assistance just to stand up. He's also almost entirely neglected state affairs. He refused to read reports. He left ministers having to have audiences with his empty throne, and he failed to attend any public ceremonies, including his mother's funeral.
Damn, he was a lazy motherfucker.
Too
but
lazy
you know what?
to even go to his mom's funeral.
Look at how long his rule lasted.
It was the longest-lasting Ming Dynasty emperor.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, doesn't that kind of prove that maybe like the fact that he wasn't willing to do anything and had a bunch of people
Sometimes
behind
the
the
best,
scenes?
sometimes the wisest course of action is to do nothing.
That
man.
is true. And sometimes, the best way to avoid a
And this-
conflict is to do nothing.
For that time, this motherfucker lived the sweet life too. I mean,
Oh,
think
God,
about
yeah.
it.
Fuck yeah, he did.
47 years of just sitting around and having people feed you all the best food in the world and shit.
He's probably just a puppet, but he's probably just content with that. So it's like there's no reason to kill him. It's like we want this done. Yeah, do it.
Shirking all of his responsibility.
I mean, look, his mom was dead. What is he gonna do? Is he a necromancer? Can he bring her back to life?
Yeah, what's the point of going to the funeral, you know?
I mean, she's still dead. Like, what are you gonna do?
This is another infamously lazy politician. Our British oatcake eating weirdos will maybe recognize this guy. I don't know if they teach you about him. This is Lord Melbourne, also known as William Lamb. Once quipped that he thought being prime minister would be a damned bore. And when the Whig politician became British PM in 1834, he set about confirming that suspicion. His tendency to snooze through cabinet meetings, parliamentary debates, and dinners earned him a reputation as a chronic laggard and prompted Benjamin Disraeli to demand that he cease to saunter over the destinies of a nation and lounge away an empire.
Dude, maybe he had narcolepsy.
Melbourne, whose favorite dictum was, "Why not leave it alone?"
Awesome.
was equally idle when it came to his private life. He declined to separate from his adulterous wife for more than a decade after she had scandalized him by having an affair with Lord Byron and then writing a tell-all book about the affair.
So he was just like,
He's just like, divorce takes, whatever. I'd rather just stay with your cheating ass.
Yeah, more convenient.
I'm too lazy to fuck her, so
If he's gonna do it, all the better.
Lord Byron got a book out of it. Whatever, it's fine.
So we actually did a show recently where we talked a lot about the habits of this guy here.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody recognize this guy?
It's
This is Benito Mussolini.
Yes.
No, this is Adolf Hitler.
Adolf Hitler here.
From his days as a struggling art student in Austria to the pinnacle of the Third Reich's power, Adolf Hitler was an accomplished laggard. One of his biographers, Ian Kershaw, describes how the indolent Führer, having stayed up late one night watching movies like Gone with the Wind or listening to music, would often not emerge from bed until well after midday, just in time for a late lunch and a few meetings with advisors. So,
Dude, Hitler had it good for a little while.
yeah, for a while he did.
For a minute.
He was obsessed with media and celebrity and
Cool.
often seemed to have viewed himself through that lens. So a little envy there, too, I think. I guess he didn't have to have envy, though. He was right.
He was
a
already
celebrity.
he was a star.
He once described himself as the greatest actor in Europe and wrote to a friend, "I believe my life is the greatest novel in world history." In many of his personal habits, he came across as strange or even childish. He would have regular naps during the day. He bit his fingernails at the dinner table. He had a remarkable sweet tooth
Me too.
that led him to eat prodigious amounts of cake
Awesome.
and to put so many lumps of sugar in his cup that there was hardly any room for tea.
Well, tea sucks anyway.
So
He basically wanted a sugar drink.
Dude, once again, I just gotta say, man, Hitler seems pretty neat. Seems like a pretty cool dude.
Oh God,
you
TJ.
like Hitler, huh?
I mean, just on like a personal, hanging out kind of level.
No, I mean,
you know?
look, I mean,
Let's watch some movies. Let's listen to some music. Let's eat some cakes.
not to say he didn't make some bad decisions, when he was
Yeah,
on the clock, but when he's the kind of guy
But
you
you
can
know,
have a.
why would he eat cakes with you? Because that's less cake for him.
That's true.
Yeah, dude, Hitler ain't sharing his fucking cake with you, TJ.
I mean, I don't know. He seems like a generous guy.
Dude, he was too lazy to entertain you during his.
He doesn't need
you
to
would never
entertain
get-
me.
You wouldn't. Well, yeah, you're asking him to. You're asking him to let you
I'm just.
provide your disturbance in sitting around and
I
watching
wouldn't
Gone
disturb
with the Wind
shit. I just sit there quietly and watch
and
alongside
eat
him.
his cakes that he could be eating while watching Gone
dude,
with the Wind.
TJ, look,
Just bring more cake.
he's the
man.
leader of an entire fucking nation, and he has got a big ass fucking juicy fucking cake that just got baked for him.
Juicy cake.
And you're telling me you would
Wow.
be able to just quietly sit
Racist.
there and enjoy the moment with
Also,
him?
a cake with him
Yeah.
would be juicy.
You'd be belching, farting, flicking boogers at him. There's no way he'd put up with you.
Yeah, Hitler ain't sharing his fucking
Well,
cake
he
with you,
deserves
TJ.
it for what he done.
You know what, TJ? Invent a time machine, go back to 37 in Nazi Germany or whatever.
Hitler would probably just have you shot out back of his compound
Yeah. Hitler, I want some cake with you.
for being an American spy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sure, an American shows up and wants to sit and eat cakes and watch Gone with the Wind. Nice try, CIA.
Damn it. Come on, Hitler. You and I could have been something.
We've had some lazy presidents, too, honestly.
Yeah.
There were a number of lazy
Look at this
presidents
lazy fucking turd.
that I could have put up, including our current president, who is,
yeah.
He loves to golf.
he gets up late. I mean, he's got a lot of these same attributes. He doesn't like meetings. It's hard to keep his attention
he's
on
a glutton.
anything.
He probably reminds me most of that. What was that one we did? Lord Melbourne.
Yeah. He's a Lord Melbourne type, although he's trying to change things a lot. So he's got some get up and go, but for the most part, I think most people would agree that Trump is not a super active guy.
Descriptions of what he does with his days is pretty much like wake up,
Watch TV.
go to
tweet.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, send out a couple tweets.
Have 4 Big Macs delivered to me immediately with a Diet Coke.
Oh, man, that sounds so good. I got to eat something when we're done with this.
This is our 30th president, Calvin Coolidge. He may have presided over the 1920s economic boom, but he did so despite or because of working a meager 4 hours per day at the White House.
This sounds awesome.
Not content to rest on his 11 hours of sleep per night, plus daily naps, Silent Cal was fond of placing his feet on the bottom drawer of his Oval Office desk and literally counting the cars passing by on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Wow, what a bored motherfucker.
When he died a few years after leaving office, Gertrude Stein is said to have remarked, "Coolidge dead? How can you tell?"
Awesome.
So maybe it was the 1920s economic boom that allowed him to do this. It was just like, man, everything's going so fucking great. It's so much better than,
Let's
the
see how many
poverty.
cars are going by.
I'm just going to fucking coast on this one. Yeah, I'll be there for about 4 hours a day with my feet up on the desk, counting cars.
Then I'll go take a nap and go home and sleep.
Dude, they had this. They had a fucking slower news cycle. Like you said, the economy's booming, and it's like, what the fuck? He doesn't want to do anything.
Yeah, anything he does might just fuck it
Yeah,
up.
you might fuck it up, dude. Just let it go.
And the last laggard that we're going to
Oh, the
talk
Mona
about,
Lisa is a lazy bitch.
this bitch has done nothing but lounge around for a few hundred years.
I ain't seen her move once, except her eyes that follow me around the room.
Right. And interestingly enough, for a supremely lazy painting, the person that painted the Mona Lisa was also pretty lazy.
Really?
Reports say. Now, not a lot of people would think of Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, I mean, like, he seems pretty accomplished, right?
But let's talk a little bit about that, because I
Okay.
think that's a good aspect of sloth that we haven't talked about.
Okay.
So we're looking at the Mona Lisa here, one of the greatest portraits in history.
Mm-hmm.
It's so iconic we don't even have to show you the picture, right? So if we took this picture down, and for those of you listening, you can see the Mona Lisa. We're talking about
Yeah,
it.
you know.
Yeah, you know what
exactly
it looks like. You know what the fucking Mona Lisa looks like.
It's kind of small. The canvas measures only 76 centimeters. It's 30 inches by 53 centimeters, 21 inches. About the size of a small TV.
Yeah.
But given that it's a masterpiece, you'd probably expect it to have taken a while to paint. So how long do you think it took Da Vinci to paint this painting? 6 months?
I don't know.
A year?
3 days.
15 years.
Oh,
15 years.
okay.
For a decade and a half,
Ooh.
Da Vinci failed to finish this iconic portrait, not because it was so difficult, but because he was so lazy. But that's not meant to come off as judgmental. On his deathbed, the great man himself even admitted to his chronic procrastination when he apologized to God and man for leaving so much undone. So, for a little comparison here, it took Michelangelo only 4 years to paint the entire Sistine Chapel.
Wow.
Right.
So, I mean, he was...
So, in the time Michelangelo painted that gigantic, I don't know what the measurements
It's
are.
1,100 square
Dude,
meters. It's
right.
about 12,000 feet squared.
I have seen the Sistine Chapel, and I can tell
It's
you,
huge, right?
it's fucking huge, and there's so many different paintings. It's super intricate.
So 4 years for that, and then the Mona Lisa, which I've seen, and it is tiny, 15 years.
Yes.
But a
That's-
lazy genius is still a genius, and Da Vinci was probably the biggest genius of them all. It took him forever to finish artworks. The Virgin of the Rocks took 25 years to finish from a 7-month commission. So somebody
Damn.
commissioned him on a 7-month job to paint the Virgin of the Rocks, and it was finally delivered, I assume, to that person's estate 25 years later. He put his procrastination, however, to great use. It was in his downtime that he filled his notebooks with doodles and ideas, and some of those doodles would later turn out to be inventions that would have changed the course of history. You probably heard that Da Vinci invented the helicopter, the tank, the scuba suit, and the parachute. Well, this is when he did it, when he should have been working. So this is an example of somebody that shirked their responsibilities, certainly something that would be described as slothful under all the definitions that we heard here. But he filled his time with things that ended up being these great revelations. So even in his downtime, doesn't that make you feel like a bad sloth? It does me.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what happens in my downtime? I push farts into the beanbag in my living room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Slowly but surely, over the last 25 years, Paul's ego has been filling the fucking beanbag in his living room with gas. It's just like, man.
Dude, Bill Gates paid or
Whoa,
something.
what
something
happened
like,
here?
This guy's
something like
lazy time invented like 9 things that we couldn't do without.
Like I'm pretty sure like Bill Gates paid like $20 million or something like ridiculous amount of money for those papers you're talking about. You actually can see them all. Like there's digital copies of them available online, and they're pretty crazy to look at. And you're like, someone did this in like the 15th century. You know, you're like, or whenever Leonardo da Vinci lived.
I take umbrage.
Plus, he was the leader of the Ninja Turtles, too. So.
That is true. I take umbrage with this definition of sloth as a deadly sin. I think us slothful people could very well accomplish very great things with our downtime that we've created for ourselves.
If we weren't so lazy.
Most of us are just too lazy to do so.
Yeah, like, I mean, come on.
It might take 25 years. That lazy person might come up with that idea.
Retarded cripple, come on, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
But maybe my great contribution is yet to come. Maybe one day as I push another greasy fart into the beanbag in my living room while watching some stupid brain-dead Netflix show or playing some stupid brain-dead video game, I'll have an epiphany that changes your fucking life. So, in a way, a slothful person in a society is kind of like an egg that you don't know whether it was fertilized or not. Now, if you don't sit on it, it's just going to wither away and be nothing. But if you do sit on it, you might get eggs forever. You know what I mean? There might be a chicken in there that could lay you a bunch of eggs. And that's really what I have for tonight.
Or you know you get, Paul? A bunch of broken eggs.
I mean, maybe.
Broken eggs with broken dreams.
As a slothful guy, I'm asking you to take that fucking gamble on me.
All right, well, I need to go succumb to gluttony, so
It's time.
goodbye, everybody. Thank
Goodbye.
you for
So
watching.
long.
Hope
Peace.
you enjoyed. Peace and prosperity to you all so that I can envy you.
How about sloth to you all? Just be lazy.
Yeah, everyone just take a lazy day or
Be fucking
lifetime,
lazy.
whichever suits you better.
Yeah.